All right, everybody, welcome in. We are live. First edition of Inside LSU Women's Basketball here on LSU Tigers of TigerBait, and I'm really excited to have former LSU Tiger Emily Ward in the house with us. And big game tomorrow night, obviously. Biggest home game of the year up to this point, with Oklahoma coming into town. Of course, LSU sitting with only one loss after a tough road loss at South Carolina last week, and then got the win against A&M. And last night I was in Faraday, got a chance to see Kim Mulkey and Miss Rice in the building, checking out a future possible Tiger. And we're going to talk about that and a lot more on this show tonight. But welcome in, Emily.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we've kind of talked about doing this for a while, and we're going to jump in and do it. And of course, because of the schedule this week, we're going up against LSU men's basketball. They're down 10 points to Auburn right now, 66-56, with a little over 8 minutes left in that one. A lot of turnovers for the LSU Tigers in this one. Tall order trying to beat number one Auburn. But Emily, give us your thoughts overall on this LSU team this year. Where are they at? How good are they actually? I think a lot of us that have watched the teams since you were there, I think we kind of nitpick, maybe look at deficiencies and, think that there's a ceiling on how far this team can go. But I don't know that that's necessarily the case. I think maybe we might be judging this team harder or on a harder scale than other teams, because they just keep doing what they're doing against some pretty good opponents outside of on the road at South Carolina, and nobody's beating them there.
Yeah, I am very excited about this team. I feel like since the national championship team, everyone's kind of comparing all of the LSU teams to that team. I feel like this team has just as much talent that we had my senior year. Of course, Morrow, Flau'jae, Mikaylah, MK, new transfers, just kind of everyone. And it's exciting to watch them. I know that this is the toughest part of the season, I feel like, because you're done with preseason. You're kind of in the middle of SEC. You have quick turnarounds, just like the South Carolina game. They played on a Friday. Then it was alumni weekend. So they played Friday, flew back Friday night, had all the alumni stuff, had practice, and then had a game versus Texas A&M on Sunday. And it's hard on your body, and it's hard when you're a student athlete too, because of course they all have classes and everything. So they're getting into the kind of middle of SEC play, which is my favorite part, because you, like, in practice you do a lot of film, so it's not as much running because you're running in games. But yeah, I'm excited for this team. I know that we have been dominating the boards in most of the games. I mean, of course, South Carolina, but it's South Carolina. I think they're doing a great job at pushing it in transition. Like, as soon as the other team scores, they're running. I know the past few games they've had a little more turnovers probably than they've wanted to, but it's all stuff that we can clean up, or the girls can clean up as a team. Of course, it's the defense is causing them, but a lot of it is on us too. So I know Coach Mulkey and the rest of the staff have really worked on, like, gone through film and all of that and really went into detail on what they can fix.
Well, here's the thing. We're approaching February 1st. At this point, I tend to think just about every team in the Southeastern Conference strength of schedule is probably about the same now.
Mm-hmm.
If you had an easier December schedule, that's probably evened out by now.
Right.
After going through a month of the SEC. And some of the things, when you start talking about turnovers and some of the things where we're kind of maybe, looking at LSU and saying, boy, they're not really. But then when you look at the overall statistics in the SEC in different categories, again, I think we might be a little bit hard on this team because of what we've seen in previous years, because they're still elite in the categories where you think they might be deficient. But I do go back to this, and I wanted to get your opinion on it. For instance, on Sunday versus A&M, Del Rosario, Samaya, and Wolfenbarger, the three bigs, had a combined 2 points. I don't know. Sooner or later, do you think that's going to catch up with them, right?
Yeah,
you need to get some more out of them.
Yes, especially if, you have those three that they can keep rotating in and out. So if they keep getting like 1 or 2 baskets here and then 1 or 2 rebounds. Like, you don't have to be another Morrow. You can just do your little pieces and your little roles that will eventually, if you combine all of theirs, keep adding up. But I think that's just kind of them working on playing together, working on like getting in the rhythm of everything. So I'm hoping that as the season goes on, they not get more confident, but because I feel like they're already pretty confident, but they realize that even if they're only in there for 2 minutes or 4 minutes at a time, then that can make a difference. And Coach Mulkey realized that if they go in there, let's say for half of a quarter, 5 minutes, and they get 3 rebounds, then Coach Mulkey is going to notice that. So it's not, you don't have to do what Aneesah is doing. You just have to do what you can do and do your best for when they're in there or when you're in there.
Morrow's absolutely amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I look, you obviously, you being a former player, you're looking at a lot of different things than the rest of us are, whether media or the casual fan. But tell me, are you like us where you're watching these games and you don't realize what Morrow is doing during the games, and then when you look at the box score, it's like the box score in your mind, she's doing Morrow things, but Morrow same things just don't seem to stand out. But then when you look at the box score, it's all there on paper, and she's just putting up astonishing numbers in every category.
Yeah, like you said, when she's in these games and you see her stats at the end of the game, you're like, oh wow, she had 20 points. Like, you don't even realize that she had that many. Like, yeah, you remember like her scoring like a fadeaway or whatever, but it's not like she's taking over the game and doing too much is what it is. She does all the small things. You can tell that she wants those rebounds. She wants to get the ball, of course, like off a ball screen or just posting up. She posts up, like, she's an incredible post player. Like with back to the basket and just being able to make that one dribble move or just a move. But I think it's because that we don't realize how much she's doing, because it's not all about her. Like, she will pass it out if she needs to. Like, she's smart with the ball, so she knows exactly what to do. So then at the end of the game, you're like, oh, she has 17 rebounds. And you're like, oh, didn't even realize that. Like, it's not like it completely catches your attention the whole time.
You're 5'11", or at least that's how you were listed on the LSU website. Is she 5'11", or is she taller than you by an inch?
Okay, well, I'm 5'11" and 3/4 without shoes.
Okay.
So with shoes, I'm like 6 foot. But she's probably right around my height, because I know Flau'jae is like 5'10", I think. Like, Flau'jae is a little bit shorter than me, and I think Morrow is a little bit taller than her. So she's probably my height, maybe a little taller. But yeah, she's not the biggest post player. Like, and I feel like she definitely knows that, but it doesn't matter to her. Like, she still acts like she's 6'5" and gets all the rebounds. So
she said something weeks ago that I wasn't aware of, but she said about having the game taken away from her, and talked about having had knee injuries in the past. And I didn't know, was that maybe a year at DePaul, or were all of her knee injuries in high school or younger?
I don't know. I think there was one at DePaul for sure that I can think of, but I don't remember what it was. I just remember it was pre-LSU. I think it was like a little bit before she went to LSU. So, but it also might be high school. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it wasn't at LSU, but
no, yeah.
She's just, I mean, what she does inside, it's incredible. And sometimes we get, particularly in the bigger games, the opposing coach will come into the media room to do a post-game interview. And they all talk about just, you can't teach her heart.
No.
That's just something when you're in as a coach or an assistant coach out recruiting. I don't know what meter you use or what you use to try and gauge that, but it's kind of one of those deals where you'll take a 3-star with her heart over a 5-star that has none every day of the week. Right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. She does her best. I mean, I've been to practices. I didn't, unfortunately, get to play with her. I wish I did. But I've been to practices, and she goes all out every single drill. You can just tell she wants it. Like, and she wants it, and it's tough because she is an undersized guard with height-wise. So it is hard for her to kind of guard the 5 players. I mean, of course, she's strong and everything. But the height difference is there. But at the 4 position, you can't even tell that she would be undersized just with how much she tries to go for every rebound, and just her footwork is incredible too.
In your years and what you know, or at least in this recent time frame,
Mhm.
which player would you say was the biggest beast in the weight room? Whether it was a squat rack or
Um,
whatever, who was the one that never missed leg day is what I'm getting at.
the person that never missed arm day was Alexis Morris.
Okay, I
She
see that.
could bench. Yes, she
Yeah, but
for
that's
her little
easy.
body. Yeah.
Nobody
Um,
misses arm day. That's the easy
yeah.
one. But
Cherry was also very strong. Jalen Cherry. Um, I'm trying to think. LaDeja
I
Williams
did
was strong.
I
Yeah.
just I just imagine Morrow being that one who never misses leg day.
Oh yeah,
And
she's
she's always at the
probably yeah,
power rack doing cleans and or whatever.
yeah.
What's the strength coach's name?
Thomas.
Uh, Thomas. He
Hmm.
also serves as
Oh. Okay. I'm just gonna continue. Thomas is awesome. He does everything that Mulkey asks. We used to have to do drills with like trying to catch ball. There was one practice where we kept fumbling the ball, like we couldn't catch the ball, and so then we had to go the next day at weight practice and actually practice like catching little tennis balls or little balls or whatever it is. But yeah, he is fantastic at his job. He knows what he's talking about. So, and he's very much so like
did
he's
you
not oh, I'm talking about Thomas.
good. All right. I'm gonna be on the phone.
I was just saying how like Thomas doesn't really look at the numbers that we put up in the weight room. He's more focused on basketball related stuff, and he knows how to properly train us in preseason and in the off season and like in the SEC. Like obviously, oh, there's my dog. Um, like when we're going to play South Carolina, obviously we're not gonna do full on weights 2 days before. Like he knows how our bodies are tired, and he knows the proper way to get us ready for the games.
I think because I'm there for 30 minutes before tip off every game, I think I pretty much know. I think I could step out on the court and do the same
Yeah.
little leg things, and then I know the
Hmm.
whole routine.
Yes.
Um,
Oh, a lot of stuff that we do for basketball, it's like the exact same. Like our warm up for pregame, exact same. We get there at the same time every game. Same thing with practice. Like we do the same stretching, we do the same warm up. Like it is, we have a routine and we do not change it.
Garth Brooks comes on, teams comes out.
Hmm.
About a minute and a half later, Kim comes
Kim
out,
comes. Yep.
goes down, hugs all the coaches, comes back and sits in the same chair and crosses her legs.
Hmm. And then she'll sometimes like do the arm thing too.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
love it. I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
know. We used to joke we would be on the free throw line when Kim would walk out, and like sometimes our back would be towards the benches, and like I would look at one of my teammates and like, there's Kim, there it is, like there's the crowd cheering for her.
Well, I've always been nervous for her coming down that ramp. Of course, you got that big long carpet, but that's
Hmm.
still to me is a scary proposition depending on the shoes she's wearing.
Yeah,
But
which is heels every single game.
yeah, it's crazy.
Hmm.
I want to go back to something that we started talking about earlier in the show. Obviously, what the snow did last week, postponing the game. Um, as a former player, were you imagining what hoops they were jumping through to get practices in, and knowing Kim, what was she like having all that stuff altered and having to
Hmm.
move on the fly? Is she resilient, or is she maybe behind the scenes? Uh, you know, it throws her off a little bit, but y'all would never know it as players.
Um, Probably more resilient. Of course, she likes her routines, but she knows that sometimes it just doesn't happen. Um, Definitely, I know that they were trying to practice as quickly as possible, especially because I know at first they were going to leave on Thursday and play Thursday night, which I think was the game plan. Like, I'm pretty sure that's what someone told me. I can't remember who. But that it does throw off the schedule, but there's just certain things that you can't control. So you kind of have to roll with it and just make the most of it. I know they did
Sometimes that's
practice. Oh, sorry.
sometimes that can work to your advantage.
Yeah. I know, of course, like Monday, or Tuesday, she was probably like, enjoy the snow, enjoy it. Like, this is probably a once in a lifetime thing. Like, you never
Mhm.
know. But then I know on her side, she was like, we still have a game to play. We're in the middle of season. It's business. Like, it's game time. So she was probably making, like, obviously making sure it was loud. They were allowed to practice because, of course, LSU was canceled. So that's like a whole different side of like the background of everything. And then, but of course, she wanted to make sure it was okay for the players to be able to drive to practice because a lot of them do live off campus. So I know she wouldn't risk anyone getting hurt, like, or in the car for that. So I don't know. I think it's something that you just can't control, and you just kind of have to go with it. So.
I will say this, Emily, just looking at your background, either you made the bed for the show or you're OCD and you keep a very clean room. But either way, your mom should be proud.
Thank you. It's normally like this most of the time. There's normally some stuff on here, but I cleaned that for this. But my bed is normally made.
Okay, I never make a bed, so there you go. All right, let's dive into some questions, folks. Y'all get your comments and questions in. We're live and we're gonna get to them. And like Fire 3449 says, hit that like button again. And there it is. Her alone national championship. Emily, her alone again. My girl, yes, love this. Thank you very much for bringing out the national champ, Emily. Carvis Durr says we have to limit the turnovers and we need more production from the bigs, which is what I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's last night, Emily, I went to Faraday to film Caroline Bradley of Oak Grove, who's 6'5", and just turned 16 a week or two ago.
Wow. Yeah.
And got offers from LSU, of course, and has been on campus multiple times and will be back. They don't grow on trees, do they?
No, they definitely don't.
And when you get one in Louisiana, you got to get her. But she's still 2 years away. So when it comes to the bigs, it's one of these deals where this is your team now. Be real curious to see what she does in the portal. But we still got a lot of season left to play to start talking about that. But yeah, the bigs though, I think Del Rosario had a setback with injury again. I think Wolfenbarger has showed some flashes at times, but then disappears a bit. And I think, where's Samaya coming back off of injury, confidence wise? I think there's some spurts there, but I really thought that you might be able to get close to double digit scoring average from her, and it just hasn't materialized.
I know. I'm hoping because before she got hurt, I'm trying to think back last year, she was having a phenomenal year. Like, I
Yes.
think she was averaging, I mean, she hit 20s like a few games, I think, from what I remember. But it's hard. It is hard to come back after an injury like that. Like, I remember I tore my MCL, and I mean, I was only out for like a few weeks, but it is like, especially your ACL, you're out for 9 months. Sometimes you jump the same or you land the same as you did when you got hurt, and you remember exactly how you get hurt, like the feeling and everything. So I'm hoping that just as she plays more, and I don't want her to get overshadowed, maybe not overshadowed by Morrow, but I don't want them to just be like, oh, Aneesah's gonna get that rebound, or like, oh, like, I don't need to hurry down the court because one of the guards is taking my big, or just kind of like stuff like that. Like, oh, even if I'm not in the right spot, then my teammate has my back. So I think that once they just get in their head, like, oh, every minute I'm in does matter. Me running the court full sprint does make a difference. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping that soon it kind of clicks. If they can't score, then get rebounds. I mean, Jersey's tall, Samaya's tall. They have the height, especially when the guards go and crash. So hopefully they can just really zone in on getting those rebounds.
tell me if I'm being a simpleton, but whether it's Del Rosario down low in the paint or Samaya or Wolfenbarger, when they catch the ball, when they want to hit that one dribble and then go up with it, that's when they get in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you just go straight up with it, I think probably 70-80% of the time you're going to draw a foul, whether you miss a shot or not. If don't pass, don't do multiple head fakes, because then one of the tiny ones is going to come around you and tie you up.
Yes.
Catch it and go. And if you miss it, fine. Like you said, you might have Morrow right there to put it right back in. That's what she does. But draw the foul, get to the foul line. And to me, it's too many wanting to make a dribble or get fancy. And if they just go straight up with it, because of their size and their height, they're going to get you on the arm.
Yeah, I don't know if that is like something that they just like a habit they had in high school or in practice they've started doing it, but I do know Mulkey and Starkey and all of the other coaches, Daphne Mitchell, she worked like her and Starkey, I know work with the post. I don't know about Simone. I don't know what she does, but I wish I had her as a coach, but once again, I didn't, because she's awesome and I fangirl over her all the time.
Have you seen her at practice? Have you been to practice with her out there and watched her
No,
coach?
I haven't been this year because I've been working, but
Okay.
I need to. I need to just take a lunch break or something. But they do focus a lot on going straight back up because, like you said, when they dribble, a small guard can come in there. Alexis Morris was great at doing that, and Kateri Poole too. They were both fantastic at going down there, grabbing the ball from the bigs, and just taking off. Like it allows so much more opportunity for the opposing team to grab it, especially the smaller players. But yeah, they do drills every single day. They split up, like guards will do one drill or different drills, and then the post players will do something else. So I know they practice it. But like I said, I don't know if it's like a habit or they think they still have time. But yeah, you gotta go straight up and you gotta be strong with it.
Her alone says Samaya Smith is truly turning a corner since the Florida game. I think she'll be what we need. Now I think it's Jada Richard LSU needs to unlock. Yeah. Look, KG has a big game and then she disappears for 3. Jada looked really good on Sunday, but as a true freshman, it's like you want someone to step up other than the big 3.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there has been a few games where someone else has like KG or I don't know, anyone. But like Jada, like you said, true freshman, and it's hard to be a true freshman and play, and it's even harder to be a true freshman and play point guard. Because Kim was a point guard, she knows how to coach point guards. She has these expectations that you have to meet, and obviously she knows that freshmen. Of course, Jada's amazing; she's a phenomenal player, but she also hasn't been in the South Carolina games or the close games or just it's hard to adjust from high school to college. And I think Jada's doing a great job. Like you said, she had a great game versus A&M. So I think just with her, it's just time because she is a true point guard and there's a lot of pressure on point guards. You have to know every single spot in the plays, what everyone is doing, to make sure the play runs smoothly, all that kind of stuff. So I think just time will come and more practice and everything. But yeah, like you said, someone else besides the big 3 has to step up. So I think once they figure that out and start doing that, and even it doesn't have to be the same person every game. Like it can rotate. Samaya, Jersey, KG, Cheyenne. Like it can be anyone, and they just gotta step up. So.
Yeah, and I thought we would have been seeing more from Miracle as well. I mean, Kim was really high, really high on her, and I think she still is. But we'll see. I look. It's anybody who's watched our shows on TigerBait for football during football season. We you want to grade your team a little bit harder, and then when you look around the league, and in fact, last night. Caroline injured her wrist, so I went and sat behind the bench, and the assistant coach for Vanderbilt was there, and we started talking, and we were talking about LSU's team.
Mhm.
Okay, of course, Vanderbilt now is in the top
I
25
was about to say there, yeah,
for the
great
first
team.
time, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Well," and I said, "Well, you can't get," but she goes, and I knew what she was going to say. Nobody's beaten South Carolina.
Mhm.
And I was talking to her, because she coached against LSU and on staff and broke it down, and I was talking to her about the bigs and the issue there, and she was like, "Yeah, but your big three are above next level."
Yeah.
That's you know. It was really interesting conversation getting the perspective of a coach in the SEC right in the middle of the season. I enjoyed talking to her. Of course, Kim and them were on the other side, probably looking at me saying, "Look at him talking to that Vanderbilt coach."
Talking to the enemy.
I might have got myself in trouble, huh? Yeah. There was something. I know what I wanted to ask you. I guess it was end of December when Coach Starkey filled in post game for Kim
Mhm.
and let it fly. And I'm like, he didn't hold back. Is that the way he? I mean, we ain't this,
Yeah.
we aren't that. Now you correct me because I have a feeling that Kim is that way behind closed doors at times, or maybe she's not.
Mhm.
Is that the way it is? Bob's the heavy.
Oh yeah, he will yell big time, and like when he's mad, he is mad. Like it's almost like I know. Well, for my parents, like when my mom is mad, of course we like are listening, and but then when my dad gets mad and yells at us, me and my brother are like, whoa, like it's out of nowhere, like it's legit, and that's kind of how Bob is. Like he will sit back and watch everything, and he'll let it go for like a few plays, like if they're messing up or whatever. But then all of a sudden it's like boom, yelling, like which of course all the coaches yell, but he's definitely like he will say whatever, he'll call you out. But I think that's something that all of the coaches do, like they tell you the truth, which is amazing. That's something you want as an athlete, but they also know the correct way to tell you. Like, Mulkey would talk to me differently than she would talk to Angel. Like she knows, like if
And you
someone
have to do that.
and you have to, and that's what makes a good coach.
Yeah.
And Starkey is the same way. Of course, all of them are like that. Like they know the correct way to talk to us. But I think that's important. Of course, it's different like when you're talking to the whole team or like in the middle of practice or whatever. But yeah, Starkey will just let it go.
Yeah, because one of the reasons it is for just doing. Of course, we don't really get players other than if they're heavy scorers in one of the top two scorers at post game.
Hmm.
So it's tournament time when you're hosting, and we get the locker room interviews. And when you hear Flau'jae or someone say, "Oh yeah, I knew I was going to hear it from Coach Starkey when I didn't do that," or
Yeah.
and it's particularly a defensive thing. Yeah, they all know what's coming if they
Yeah.
do something defensively that's not up to
Hmm.
snuff.
And
And
another thing with Starkey is he does all of the film, or at least he did when my senior year. I don't know how much that has changed, but I'm pretty sure he does all the film. Like he'll do all the film sessions, all the scouting. I don't think there's another person in this planet that knows more about the other teams that we're playing against. Like he sits down and studies that film, and he knows exactly what every single person is going to do at every point in the game, and he'll go over that with us in practice. So then he gets frustrated when he knows he went over it with us but we don't do it in a game because we like forget, like with all of their plays, like we'll go over the plays, how we're going to defend the screens, all of this. So I think that's when he gets frustrated because he told us exactly how to beat them and what to do, but we don't do it. So I can definitely see where that's frustrating, like especially when you
well,
spend all that time doing scout.
look, whenever you hear Coach Mulkey talk about Bob Starkey publicly, that's genuine. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he was and for her, and look, she's always gives her staff credit and
Mhm.
but look, he fills in at TJ Ribs last night. He fills in. I mean, she's mapped it out about. She talks about, well, I'm getting older and I can't. and I need, and Coach Starkey and others on that staff, Coach Reedus and everybody, they big for her.
Yeah.
So I got to do one thing. I need to pay bills. I need to talk about our sponsor, Dykes Electrical, the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. And no matter how big or small of your electrical needs may be, Dykes is wired for success. You need a brand new 10-story office building. They can wire that. 200,000 square foot warehouse you need built. They can wire that. Expanding your existing commercial building. They can wire that. Changing out a breaker, whole electrical panel, or just a receptacle in your home or office. They can wire that. Upgrading the old lighting in your home or office. They can wire that. Give them a call today at the number on your screen, 225-216-9180, for a free estimate on your project, and make sure to let them know TigerBait sent you in. Dykes Electrical, a Louisiana company, huge LSU fans, and again, the official electrical company of TigerBait.com. All right, Emily, Oklahoma tomorrow night. What can we expect? I mean, I have not watched Oklahoma this year. I pulled up. Obviously, we know what Reagan Beers, and you talked about how y'all faced her at her previous stop.
Mm-hmm.
What might we expect tomorrow night?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched many of their games either. I watched the Tennessee game when they only won by 1. But I do know they only have 1 loss versus South Carolina in SEC, so it's definitely gonna be a matchup. I know there's a lot of fans coming, and the whiteout game, it's gonna be exciting. Yeah, Reagan Beers, we played her my senior year in Hawaii, actually. When she was at Oregon State, she was good then, and she's great now. She's grown more. Of course, she has more experience. She's a big, so like we said, with the 5 players, we're just gonna have to battle. Hopefully, one of the 5s can stay with her, or just keep switching out, whatever works for them. I mean, I know LSU has done it a lot of times where they've had 4 guards, and then Morrow has gotten the 5, so they might even try that. But yeah, Beers is good. They have another guard that's also really good. So I think if you can contain
I'm gonna
those
let you
2,
say her name because I know I'm gonna
I
butcher
think
it.
it's like Ver something. I don't even remember what it is. I don't have it up either. It's like VRS something. But
Yeah.
she's good. She shoots a lot of 3s. I do remember that. I want to say she shot like 10 or 11 in the last game, I think. But yeah, so when she's on fire, like when she's hot, she's hot. So yeah, I think it'll be a tough matchup. I'm excited.
It's got to be Peyton Verhulst.
Verhulst, yes, that's what it is. Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm saying Verhulst. That's how it reads to me, but maybe it's pronounced a different way.
Yeah.
Shame on me for not knowing it correctly. I apologize. But all right, here we go. Teddy with a question. Emily Ward, we were rebounded. We rebounded South Carolina by like 12. So team's height hasn't been a problem on the glass. Us getting consistent play is we got to move the ball more. Well, I think the LSU women in that game were like the men the next day. Couldn't throw it in the ocean for stretches.
Yeah.
A lot of missed shots.
Yeah, I think too, we that is a good point. I know we did out rebound them. And I think it was just our turnovers that game. I remember watching it, and I was like, oh, that's something we can fix or whatever. That game was kind of a odd game. Of course, we held them to however many points. It was a very low score for them, low score for us too. But in my head, I'm like, okay, if South Carolina is number 2 in the country or number 1, whatever they are now, but if they're number 2 and we quote unquote played bad, or not like we wanted to, and we still only lost to them by 10, and it's stuff that we can improve on. Like, it's not, I feel like in that game, yeah, they do have a lot of all of McDonald's All-Americans, like Mulkey said in the post-game stuff, but I feel like in that game we beat ourselves. Of course, they are phenomenal on every end of the game, but I feel like it was just stuff that we could have fixed. So yeah, I mean, the height didn't really hurt us in that game. It was just all the turnovers that we had and our shooting percentage.
Her alone says Mulkey loves ISO ball, so it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah. ISO is hard. We always do our play the
Now I think I've lost Emily, but let's see if we get her back. There
oh,
she is.
okay.
There you are.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm like frozen on my screen, but I don't know if you can see me.
no, you're fine. You look good.
Okay, cool. Um oh yeah, so we do a lot of on ball screens. So we'll pass it to the wing, and the wing player will do a little ball screen with the post player, and that's pretty much our entire offense. So yeah, we practice that every day. It kind of is what works. You can either pull up for the shot, spin around the corner to the other side, or pass to the post player. So yeah, that we do. That is like like not the only thing, but that is our main offense.
Teddy says, no offense, and I love my girls, or no offense, I love my girls, but they look very scared against SEC. The only team that wasn't scared was UCLA. Look, that environment at Columbia, Emily, that's no joke. And
Yeah.
that's a huge advantage. What do they won now? 69 or 70
Mhm.
in a row in Columbia. But look, sooner or later, LSU is going to get over the hump. But it's several things. I mean, Kim will say, winning it in year two, maybe did it spoil the fan base? And you think the program overall, when you say program, is different than team, but overall depth of your roster and having consistent recruiting every single year, the portal can help you with that.
Mhm.
But it was like last year when hosted South Carolina at home, Emily, when you were looking at their team in warmups and how big they were, the size that they
Yeah.
had compared to the LSU roster. They've done a great job, and they've had like Kim said, a head start. Well, and she gave talked about why I had a head start at Baylor, and it took me a while, and then
Mhm.
she had that type of roster that was so many deep. But yeah, I think that's part of it. Someone also in the chat, Emily, brought up the disparity in the free throws against South Carolina. I don't know at the end of that game. I mean, did you think that overall that there was some seriously homerism going on or home cooking? Because I didn't walk away from it that way. I just thought LSU had the turnovers at time, poor slot
Mhm.
selection, maybe come down and shooting too soon, and it caught up with them.
Yeah, I mean, of course there's always going to be calls that we don't like. But all the coaches, Mulkey will say you can never blame the refs and you can never put it in the refs' hands. Like you cannot leave the game to the refs because most of the time they will not fail you, but there's a chance that it won't go your way. In that game, I feel like I know we didn't get to the free throw line a lot, and it's not that I mean, of course, the refs probably did miss some shots, but it's the fact that we weren't really driving to the lane to get those free throw shots, and that they had like 11 or 12 blocks on us too. Um, which some people will probably say like, oh well, that was a foul and not a block, whatever. But once again, you can't put it on the refs to make that call in those types of games, and it's so fast. And um, yeah, I just think it was us more not driving to the goal, and if we did, most of the time we got blocked. Specifically in
Absolutely.
that game, yeah.
All right. We'll go a few minutes more here and we'll get some more of the questions in. But I want to ask you something. As I've watched this team, and again, talking about how it's the big three and then you're looking for the others to step up. And at times there hasn't been a whole lot of bench scoring. And, we do these things in the media where we debate the team and how far might they go. Are they a Sweet 16 team? Can they get to an Elite Eight if they get a nice draw? Is the lack of bigs finally going to catch up with them? And then I kind of looked at it from year one of Mulkey till now. You were on her first team here.
Hmm.
Um, and I've been wondering how well her first team here would have matched up against this team.
Oh, let's see. So for my first year, it was Jalen Cherry, Kayla Pointer, Faustina Fua, Autumn Newby, Alexis. Lex was on that team. I'm trying to think of who else. Alwa Trossi. I think, I don't know. I feel like too with the tournament, so much has to go right in order for you to win it.
Because I'm gonna be honest with you, there's been times this year where I've thought that team was better than this team.
Yeah, I think they have different pros and or strengths and weaknesses.
Second round loss to Ohio State.
But then again too, I remember like Alexis got hurt right before the tournament that year, so we completely lost her. I don't know. I feel like it's actually a pretty good matchup. I think we definitely should have beaten Ohio State that year. We should not have lost. But I feel like this team can definitely go to the Sweet 16 or even the Elite Eight too. Just
it depends on
it depends on the
and
draw. It is because like the year we won it, I remember we had a great draw, and then we also had a lot of upsets on our side. Miami, who we played in the Elite Eight, like that was awesome because they knocked out, I think it was like Indiana or whatever. We had number one on our side. So that helped us because, I mean, looking back at it, we did not play the best game, but we won. I remember Mulkey even said, like, if I was watching this game, I would have turned it off because we played so bad. But I think just a lot has to go right. Everyone has to be healthy too is another thing. I think Mulkey's first year, it would have ended differently if Alexis didn't get hurt. I think we would have gone a lot further. So yeah, it's just you have to be lucky. You have to be healthy. Yeah, a lot of things have to go right.
Trucking with Casper with a super chat, man. Thank you, Casper. It's been a while since I've seen you. Thanks for that super chat. All right. Anything you want to add on the way out? I look, we've gone 42 minutes. I'm glad we finally did this. We're going to do this. We're going to see if we can't do this weekly, and just I need to get with you and see when you're available. And we're going to bring other guests in as well. And thought might have even had a special someone pop in earlier tonight, but something came up. But we got some things that we can do with this show, I think. And nice crowd tonight, despite going up against LSU and Auburn. That's a final 87-74. Auburn beats LSU. So any closing thoughts or anything you want to discuss that we maybe didn't get to tonight?
Nothing that I can think of. I think just if you're in town, come to the game tomorrow. It's going to be crazy. I have to go for work. I have to go to Shreveport tomorrow, so I will be booking it back in time to make it. But yeah, I know it's going to be crazy. It's a whiteout game.
Don't forget, it's a 6:00 tip off. So you
really
gotta book it.
I know. Which my meeting's at 11:30, so I'm hoping I can make it back in time. It's supposed to end at 1:30, so we'll see. If not, I will be listening on the radio the whole way home. But yeah, I think it'll be insane. It'll be crazy, and just, I guess, keep watching the games. I know we have some away games coming up, some home games. We're in the middle of SEC. Everyone in the SEC is tough. It's always going to be like that. SEC is a very tough conference. You have no easy games.
And that's something else, Emily. We didn't even touch on that. In fact, I didn't total it up this week, but we've had multiple weeks where there were 7 teams in the SEC in the top 25, where the last couple of 3 years there was only 2, right? Yeah. Now you look at what Kentucky's doing. So look, Kim always says that the key is to have enough wins to host, and I think the key is you got to win all the home games. Yeah.
That was my Mulkey's first year, so my junior year. Of course, we didn't go to the tournament the years before, and she was like, I want to make the tournament. Like, we just want to make it. It wasn't even, from what I can recall, that was like a goal, but it wasn't super realistic because we were like in the middle of the pack for the SEC, like whatever. And then we ended up hosting. So it was super cool. And it's so much fun to host and be a player because it's all your fans and everything. It's a cool experience. So yeah, I think the goal, obviously, it's like almost an expectation to host now, which of course it's like a brand new players, everything. So it's still a goal, but we're to the point in the program where we know most likely we're going to host. But yeah, everyone in the SEC is tough. I remember my freshman year of the SEC, it was the same thing. There was like 10 teams in the top 25 at one point. Like, it was crazy. That was like Kennedy Carter at A&M. Just everyone was in the SEC, I feel like. But yeah, even like Vandy, I think was finished, or Vandy, Auburn, they were kind of in the bottom of the SEC in the past few years, but now Vandy's ranked, and Vandy has beaten some good teams, and they are close with us too. So you can't take any off games, you can't take a break, you can't overlook anyone, you can't play to their level. You just gotta focus one game at a time. Don't look ahead. Yeah, just keep going.
Well, we were a group of us media guys. We kind of set the over and under of 3 losses, and you got one already, and so kind of looking at Kentucky, maybe, maybe in Austin. But look, you already won in Knoxville. Tennessee comes back. You play them twice this season. So if you hold court, you got Oklahoma coming in at number 13. Ole Miss is going to be tough. The last game of the season. And what was the other one? That's Ole Miss. You've got this one and Ole Miss. And of course, Alabama is you've got them on the road. So if you can steal maybe one of those big ones on the road and you hold home, well, you're going to be hosting with a really nice seed.
Yeah. Mulkey's always like protect your house. No one's gonna come in here, run it up. You want to make the fans happy. You want to be happy. But yeah, that was one of our other goals, was to not lose an SEC game at home. I know the year we won, we didn't. We only lost South Carolina, Tennessee, and those are both. Well, it was at South Carolina, and then Tennessee was at the SEC tournament. I want to say Mulkey's first year, we did not lose. I think it was at South Carolina again, or I don't know. I don't think we lost that many games at home since she's been here, because she's very much like, we need to win these if we're going to lose the away games. Like, it's so much easier to win at your house than it is away games. So you need to take advantage of that.
Well, look, again, if you do that, you take care of home, and then you've already got the one win at Tennessee. And then you got the SEC being as strong as it is with 7, and then you've got multiple teams that are barely outside the top 25. Vanderbilt's now in. That's a really nice win to look at now. And so, she's going to have I think if you do that, and maybe you steal one in Austin, I mean, who knows? They might run the table here, but
that'd be great. I would love that.
But but the key is absolutely look, if it's 3 losses, which was kind of where we set it, a lot of us thought 3 losses was probably a deal, but hold home and then steal one either in Lexington or Austin, and you're on your way.
Yeah, I think those will both be tough games. I love Kentucky. I love that coach. I love Georgia Amore, the little guard, when we played her when she was at Virginia Tech. She's phenomenal. I think I'm excited for that game. I think it'll be a good game. And of course,
he is a great personality coach. I enjoy his post games. LSU, of course, played him several times, and he's super. I enjoyed Shea Ralph a couple of weeks ago. I mean, she did 14 minutes in the LSU post game. No opposing coach goes 14 minutes. I was imagining Mulkey in the hallway tapping her foot, saying, "I'm ready to get in there." But she was incredible. There's some really good coaches in this league. And it's, I think that's, particularly the guys that are new to women's basketball, kind of the camaraderie there. And a lot of these coaches are really good friends and have known each other for years.
Yeah, even like with Kentucky coach, like, he's new to the SEC, but of course he was at Virginia Tech, and we played, like, all the coaches know each other and they all respect each other. They know how hard it is to be to be a head coach. So yeah, they definitely know what each other's going through. Of course, not the specifics or anything, but you do meet a lot of people and you respect each other. So it is like a little, I don't know if I say family, because I don't know if they all like each other, but they respect each other and they know what they're going through.
All right, Emily, thanks so much. A great show. We went 50 minutes. Thanks everybody tuning in. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, notification bell. We'll do this again. I'm gonna get with Emily. We're gonna figure out when we can do these consistently and bring these to you each week throughout the season. Big, I think, nice group tonight, and I think this show can absolutely be big. It's time to have a dedicated LSU women's basketball show, and of course, we're bringing it to you now at TigerBait. So the program should have had one years ago since Kim's been here, but we're finally getting it done. All right, Emily, we'll talk to you on the other side. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Good night. Bye, guys.